Hello, everyone. Welcome to Business Africa, a look at business news from the African continent. I'm Amenga. Featured in this edition, the franc CFA will not be devalued. Assurance by Bank of Central African States governor ends the rumors. How has the sub-regional financial market responded to appeals of funds by Central African countries facing oil crisis? Answers in this edition. Dark skyline for oil producers with a barrel below $50 this week in New York. The franc CFA will not be devalued further, assurance by Abbas Toli Mahamat at a press conference in Yaoundé. The governor of the Bank of Central African States explained the position of the institution he heads. William Bayeha and Michael Odwor have more.
CEMAC Central Bank Governor Abbas Toli Mahamat reaffirmed on Tuesday that the region's currency CFA Franc will not undergo devaluation. The debate to devalue the Central African currency, the CFA Franc, has been hitting headlines as several states within the region are still experiencing budget deficit. Speaking to Africanews, the CEMAC Central Bank Governor reiterated that the region was experiencing a unique economic recession than previous years and that there was no need to devalue the currency. Today, in the light of the fundamental economic and monetary zone CEMAC, there is absolutely no reason to think of such an eventuality. If you compare our region back then in 1993 and 1994, when there was devaluation, well, things have changed completely at the moment. The question to whether to devalue the CFA franc still emanates in various financial forums and political spheres in the region among leaders. According to Chadian Finance and Budget Minister Christian Georges Dingwimbaye, who addressed parliamentarians this Monday, the countries within the CEMAC region can affirm that they have avoided the worst. In a summit held December last year, Central African leaders refused to devalue the CFA franc in the presence of IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde. The CFA franc zone is an economic and monetary area composed of two completely separate and independent unions, the West African Economic and Monetary Union and the Central Africa Economic and Monetary Community.
To talk about it, we have online from Brussels, Samuel NJUFOM, an economist. Hello, Samuel NJUFOM, and welcome to Business Africa.
Hello, madam, and let me first also say hello to the viewers.
Mr. NJUFOM, the issue of the franc CFA is in the air, especially in the economic community of Central African states. But first, what is devaluation?
Yes, devaluation is in fact a political art. It is defined as a decrease in the value of a currency in relation to other currencies in a fixed exchange rate regime. But in fact, the decrease in value is the result of a political decision taken by the public authorities of a sovereign state. That is what we should remember. It is in fact an act of sovereignty, and it's for this reason that it must be differentiated. For example, depreciation is not a drop in the value of a currency, but a sanction of the market, if we may say so.
What conditions must be met for devaluation to occur?
Let's say that this is especially the aim to improve its trade balance vis-a-vis other countries or states that devalue their currency. And it's still a technical definition. There is still a penchant policy. There is the state which decides at a given time if the economic conditions of its country are good to do a devaluation and how it balances the trade balance. Well, because in devaluing, it builds imports, since it is necessary to pay more. Imported products are denominated in other currencies, and in other hand, the objective is to make the exports of foreign products less expensive, since the exported products are denominated in the valued currency.
Is it possible today to avoid a possible devaluation of the franc CFA?
Yes, The term, excuse me, is a little strong because it is not a punishment in itself. The answer closest to the reality is that, in fact, nobody knows. To begin with, African states should be consigned for the good and simple reason that the problem of the CFA franc is a policy, as I have said, or better, it is a question of sovereignty, such as we have seen. It is that the member states will devalue or, well, it will fall on their head as punishment. Nobody knows.
According to the Bank of Central African States, devaluation is no longer a question today. In the event of devaluation, what would be the consequences?
Well, the answer is much simple. It is in twofold. I will say more exactly. Remember 1994. As you know, in 1994, the CFA franc was devalued. And if we devalue it today as in 1994, the consequences would be disastrous. Let us say in conclusion that at the limit, the problem or the valuation of the CFA franc in itself is a political problem. It is not even an economic issue. It seems that it is a weapon of mass destruction to divert the attention of the real crucial issues to the future of Africa. From time to time, there are diverse problems which are more essential. For example, one that is creeping in now, and which is a real return output of the CFA franc, or the return of the structural adjustment plans. And in our context, the most fundamental is not whether to devalue or not devalue the CFA franc. The fundamental question is to know when. I thank you.
Thank you, Samuel NJUFOM, for your insights. In search for money to finance their economies, Central African countries stifled by the oil crisis are increasingly resorting to sub-regional financial markets. Evaluation of the various calls for funds with Jean-David Mahamat and Elvis Bohr.
Central African economies facing oil crisis have increasingly resorted to the financial market created since 2011. Credit institutions in the sub-region place on the financial market at attractive interest rates their cash deposited with the central bank, BIAC, an opportunity to boost the financial market made worse by the suppression of anticipated bank profits usually requested by states. Earlier this July, 4 out of the 6 CEMAC countries solicited a fundraising from the financial market worth $48 million. The coverage rates of the amounts put out vary from 112% for the Central African Republic, 65% for Congo, 105% for Cameroon, and about 81% for Gabon. Apparently, financial institutions of the Central African sub-region have confidence in CEMAC economies despite the difficult economic situation. The highest coverage rate of amount requested on the financial market are slightly more than 50%. Chad, Cameroon and Gabon on Friday issued treasury bills on the CEMAC financial market, which since its inauguration in 2011 has already mobilized more than $6 billion US.
The price of a barrel of oil to shoot above $50 despite efforts made by member countries of OPEC. We'll be talking about that after the break.